What is the SIC code and the NAICS code, and how does it affect my business and my business credit? Hey everybody, it's Shamika. Please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you guys' support as always. What this NAICS code is, it is a 4-digit number. It is a maximum of 6. It is an industry classification code, right? That only encapsulates like the first 2 to 3 numbers. And then after that, those additional numbers actually drill down to make it more specific to specify what exactly your company does. So what I did, I wrote down an example. An example I'm going to use is if you're a restaurant supply company, what your overall company does, right? But over here at one of our locations, that could be another classification. Excuse me, we have grocery, right? And then under that grocery would be seafood, okay? But at our north location, we are still restaurant supply, but we may do grocery and dry and perishable. So you can leave the overarching and let it just be restaurant supply, which is great. But as you'll see, and I get further along here, you're going to see why you need to drill down to make it more specific. And as you can see, you can have more than one NAICS code depending on how many locations that you have. Your overall company has one, but if you have different locations that operate doing different things, they need their own each individual NAICS code. And I'll tell you why that's important to you. Why? Because you want to qualify for money, right? You want to qualify for money. You want to make sure you get approved for credit, all the credit that you can. And the only way to be able to ensure that is correct is to make sure that you are properly identified. And what's so funny about this isn't even anything that the government assigns you. You assign yourself these codes. So if you can't nail or pinpoint what it is that you do, then we have a problem. All right. So below in the links, I'm going to put what the website is so that you can actually go and kind of search your industry if you haven't already, come across this before, if you're not familiar. And if you think after this video that you are coded incorrectly, I would tell you to actually you can go to nav.com actually. And if you don't have a nav.com account, please click my link below so you can sign up. They're awesome, and they do everything. Their customer service, if you guys haven't used it, I'm gonna make another video on that one as well, because they are great. I found out so much stuff just from talking to these guys. So because you want to make sure that you're accounted for everything that you can possibly get. All right, so you would if you have a nav.com account, you would normally just go on there. You can make the correction, or you can actually contact their customer service and ask them to update their information, and then you're going to have to contact the subsequent credit bureaus to update that information with them as well. But very important. I definitely think it's something that is worth your time. Now, actually, I'll put the links below that you can actually contact each individual. It'll be done at Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. I'll put that below. So if you notice that your information is wrong, you can just click below, send them an email, and update that information ASAP. All right. So let me tell you why. This is like the best part. They determine tax incentives that your business can get. Okay. So of course, if you're a small business, that may not necessarily be that important to you because you're probably still filing with your personal taxes. But if you're a larger business, you definitely want to make sure you get all the tax incentives that you qualify. And small businesses qualify for certain things. But like I said, it's usually the way it's done in the tax world is not going to be anywhere near the same as it would be if it was a larger business. Tax incentives is one reason. Okay. Also, and I said this earlier, lets you know what government contracts you qualify for. Okay. So if you are miscoded, there are a lot of contracts that you may search that you may not find because they're looking for someone in a certain category. Like the example is probably a bad example about the restaurant supply, but if you're not specifying that you deal with frozen meat only, or just perishable food only, you might miss out on some of the contracts that they're looking for. So it is very important to make sure that you have all of your NAICS codes listed correctly for each individual section or sector that you have. Okay. And another thing, I just thought about this too, that you tidy it up a little bit and try to get some of your get your businesses together based off of their industry, just like they do with the NAICS code. It will make it so much easier. If you have all your retail related stuff under this LLC and all of your automotive related stuff under this LLC. Okay. But I just think it would make it a lot cleaner, because when you're trying to get funding, right, that's the whole reason that, a lot of us are in this business credit game anyways, right? We want credit. We want money to be able to do the things we want to do. This makes it easier when a lender looks at your credit report and they're like, okay, all the things line up. Because I'm not understanding why I have a wig supply, a car dealership, and it just doesn't go together, if that makes any sense. All right, so it also helps, it categorizes you into groups. As I stated before, restaurant supply, grocery, and then you have frozen meat. Okay, so what the next code does is it categorizes you by group and then into sectors. That is why it'll be just like bullet points pretty much. All right, you got your overarching and you got your subsection and your subsection. So that's pretty much all they're trying to do, is to pinpoint exactly what it is that you do so that you can qualify for all these great things. All right. Usually when you get to the 6 digits, that's because the last portion is in the United States. So if it's restaurant supply, grocery, delivered, or I think it's delivered in the United States, that's how you get those additional last 2 digits. So that's why most of the time you just see 4 and not the last 2. Another thing that popped up, high risk industries, okay? Also how you can identify if you need to change because it could be hurting you. It affects it negatively because you're gonna be getting high interest rates, okay? If you are in an industry that is considered risky, banks they will lend you money. They just are going to lend you money at a much higher rate than they would low risk. And like I said, I'm going to get into that right now. Consumer and marketing cooperative. Pretty much any company that's going to have to distribute profits to anybody. Banks don't want to get into that. Dealers of rare coins and stamps. Gambling. Government-owned organizations. So if you're already a government-owned organization, SBA, they're not going to do business with you, but they consider it high risk because you should already be covered by the government if you're a government-owned organization, okay? They have illegal firms. So they did not necessarily specify what illegal firms was exactly. They just stated that it is against their policy of the firm and its principals having or showing good character. So I guess some illegal firms could also be something that they would consider to be questionable. So I guess if you're illegal, don't apply for a loan or don't try to get credit from anybody. Okay. Lending firms and loan packaging firms. So if you're someone who actually is a loan broker or something like that, I'm sure you probably would find it quite difficult to get funding from somebody else. Multi-sales distribution. So that is going to be your multi-level marketing companies. Your nonprofits. I was actually wondering why they would not, but it's stated that they will not go or do business with a nonprofit they consider it to be high risk because they're not making any money. So, and then I got to thinking about it and I'm like, keep forgetting. I have to remind myself sometimes too. It's a bank. It's a bank. It's a bank. Why are they going to deal with someone that's not making any money? They need for-profit companies only. So they put pyramid schemes or multi-level marketing schemes. So your pyramid companies find it very, very hard to get money. So I'll make a sidebar to any of the individuals who work in the credit repair business and you're trying to get funding to further your business. I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't already tried, it's going to be ridiculously hard. You're just not going to be able to get anyone that is going to loan you any money. So what you're going to have to do if you're trying to fund your business, and it's a credit repair business, one thing that you need to make sure you do is when you are doing your invoices, and this is really for anybody on this portion, but when you do your invoices, you need to make sure that your invoices are not reading as if it is credit repair related or any of these titles that I'm mentioning. It needs to not seem as if you're in this type of business, especially when you're trying to go to your hard money lenders and things. They want to see invoices. I mean, if you try to go through QuickBooks or Square, they want to look at those invoices and see what you've been billing people and what you've been writing on those invoices. So you need to be very, very careful what you write. And if you have a business that is questionable, that falls into one of these categories, I'm not going to tell you not to apply, but I am going to tell you that you should make sure that your parent company in no way alluding to the fact that you have have these. You can always dissociate a fictitious name with a LLC or corp. You know, you can always take the child away from the parent, but you know, you don't want to have Credit Repair Solutions LLC. Okay, I mean, you're already killing yourself. You're not gonna get any money, so don't do it. All right, real estate investment firms. Okay, so again, this goes back to the same thing I was talking about with my credit repair people. When you are titling your LLCs, your corps, your parent companies, it does not need to say real estate investment firm. It doesn't even need to be short, an REIT group, none of those things. Banks want to make sure they're going to get paid, okay? Religious institutions, should be considered a nonprofit, especially if you filed the correct documents, but you know, so yes, they're not going to help them twice. I think you get the bigger discount or help or aid with being a nonprofit, having your 501. All right, and the last one they put is speculation-based businesses, and again, this is another one of those questionable categories. So the next website, and you're looking up something that you feel that might be able to identify your industry, and I believe you can also look to see how popular your industry is, and I'll see if I can find that link and put that in there also. But if it's something that you feel that may come across as high risk, find something else, okay? And I want to make sure you don't catch yourself up. Now, remember I stated it's bad to put exactly what you do in the title of your business, right? Like Credit Repair Solutions LLC, I would not recommend that. You need to make sure that when you're applying for your EIN, and you guys have probably already created your EIN, but this may make you want to create a change and get you a new one if you think you might have done this. So you can also categorize your business and not know you're doing it when you applied for your first EIN number for your business. There are going to be certain questions in the application, and from my research, it shows that when you do that, you are giving the Census Bureau information, and they are already giving you a NAICS code, and that code will show up on your business credit report. Okay, so if you see one that you don't know how it got there, and like I said, that's actually what got me to making this video anyway, because I'm seeing things that I didn't put on there. But it makes me think, what did I say when I answered those questions from my EIN 5 years ago? You know what I mean? So if you think that you might have done something like that, I would tell you to first go and print out the form and look at the application for the EIN number and see if you possibly could have answered something that might have misaligned your business. You know, if you feel that it did, you can always get another one issued. I know that's a lot of trouble. So if you don't want to do that, you can then dispute again with those bureaus, and I'll put that information below so that you can do that. All right. So before I move on to some of the other perks, let me just point out to you what is considered low risk. I'm sorry, I got my notes over here, so I'm trying to get that all together. All right. So low risk. And these I was not surprised at all. All right, preschools and daycares. So I'm actually glad to see some of these, because there are so many women who are nurses in the state of Florida. You know, the medical industry is never, ever going anywhere. So if you are in the medical industry, or if you're in, you know, any type of industry that actually caters to the service industry, I would say, you know, you definitely could get support from the government, and it's considered low risk, and they like to fund you. And I can see that they like to fund these types of companies because they're stable. There's a definite market for it. And so, you know, they're looking to back these type of things. So if this is the type of industry you're in, listen to this. This is really good. All right. So preschools and daycares, self-storage companies. I was actually very shocked to see that. Gas stations and convenience stores. Make sure you look before you go and try to go into that industry, because Wawa's killing everything and everyone around it. It's like the Tasmanian devil right now. So, I mean, you probably can get somebody to give you some money, but I don't know if it's going to be able to stay open, especially if you're in an area where Wawa's coming. All right, bars and clubs. Kind of surprised to see that, but bars and clubs. Retail stores. Again, that's a great NAICS code to have anything with wholesale trade, retail trade. I mean, you know, retail's never going to go anywhere, and it's so broad. It encapsulates so much. Sorry, I couldn't get the word out. But so it's a good it's a good NAICS code to have. It's a good industry to go in also. Business services and office-based companies. So this is just for this was another one I was actually surprised to see. And I guess the reason why is because an individual probably will not borrow that much money. They're the smallest of the small when it comes to small business. So I could see why the government would probably want to give this individual a loan. And I could also see why some of the hard money lenders and some of these other people would as well. This is a great way to you know, if you are interested in invoice finance, and I can see businesses that are home-based actually doing that versus borrowing large sums of money. So they probably would rather do it off of the volume that you bank to give you a loan off of that amount versus just you going in and asking for some. All right, auto repair shops, car dealerships, and car wash companies. So as you see, you definitely can be in the automotive industry. They have, they're on here 3 different times dealing with vehicles, which is really, really good. So you definitely see this is a very fundable industry if you're not already in that industry. And I'm not talking about, and this is not to say anything bad about individuals who have their own like mobile detailing and things like that. But a mobile detailing individual, in my opinion, will fall under the business services and office based, not because that's the next code you fall under, but because you are looked at as the smallest of the small business. So when I say car wash companies, I just wanted to make that clear that we're talking about having an actually brick and mortar building, not your mobile. Okay, so I love the hustle. Do it. It's gonna make you some money, but I just want you to know you need to have a little bit more for the bank to want to give you some money. All right. So let me get into some of the other things that having the NAICS and the SIC code. So again, whether you qualify for contracting opportunities, I mentioned that before, but that is very, very important if you plan on doing business with the federal government. And like I said, if you are interested in doing business with the federal government, you will definitely have to have your information drilled down. Definitely, okay? Okay, so I mentioned that lenders determine your eligibility and your rate. So actually what they're saying is the wrong NAICS code can actually cost you more money by making you have a higher interest rate because you are miscategorized. So you do not want to be in a category that is considered high risk when really it's something that is considered low risk. And then yes, your credit is great, and yes, you could get the funding for the business, but they're gonna give you a higher interest rate because you stand a chance of possibly defaulting and not paying them back. Okay, so I'm always gonna keep mentioning and not paying them back or paying them because that's the only thing they really care about. That's what it boils down to. All right. Also, it determines whether your business is small. Okay, so they definitely love to know the size of your business. That definitely makes a big difference in the type of money that they're going to extend you. You know, and again, you want to make sure that you have the NAICS code for not just your overarching business, but each individual subset of business that you have, if that's the doing business as, or if you have individual locations, you want to make sure you account for all of those things. So I hope I kind of explained how or why the SIC, now NAICS code is important to your business and your business credit. Still, guys, make sure your personal credit is up to par. These things only play into a small portion. They really go into play when it comes to government contracting, or if you're asking for high dollar loan amounts. But just for your, and I'd say high dollar loan amounts will probably be 20 to 50,000 or more. If it's just your normal run of the mill, like your QuickBooks, you know, they only may give you like anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 or something like that. I mean, money is money, right? But you still want your information to be correct and updated, because you don't want to miss out on anything you can possibly get. So if you haven't, pull your credit report, or just go to nav.com. If you don't have a nav.com account, sign up at my link below. Also use those links to dispute if you notice that your information is wrong. Remember, this is very important. This is a self-sabotaging thing that you can allow to continue, or you can fix it to make sure that you get all the money your business is eligible for. So again, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you guys' support, and I hope you learned something today. Bye.